everyone. This is the Gamerhub podcast. We are giving our thoughts on the Xbox and Bethesda extended showcase. I'm just going to sort of introduce everyone. So I'm just going to go in order of people I see. We have got Galadrius the Mighty, new to the Gamerhub podcast. How are you doing?
I'm Opish. I'm good, thank you. Just looking forward to talking about all things Xbox right now, and maybe a little bit of Assassin's Creed if we have time. But obviously, we got to play it out there.
Sure thing. And next we have Electronicus Vinicus. Or is it Electro Vinny? Oh, I just call you Vinny.
Yep, otherwise known as Vinny. How's it going?
Very good, thank you, bro. Very good. Looking forward
Glad
to
to be
talking about
here.
some stuff.
Yeah, yep, definitely. I think we've had there's a lot to talk about for sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of digging into it.
Absolutely. And then next we have Steve. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm great. Happy to be on, making my first appearance as well on the cast. And yeah, how you doing, Joe?
Yeah, good, thank you, man. Good, thank you. Can't wait to go and talk through all of this. We've all obviously been going on a lot about some of the stuff that was shown pre-show. Breeze, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? How's everybody? Doing great.
Doing great. Thanks. Looking forward to getting into this.
I am.
So you sure are. So we are going to sort of go through the showcase, look at some of the stuff, the highlights, talk through it. Some of it where it did, was a bit slower, then we might just gloss over that. But yeah, we'll see. We want to start off with Valheim, sorry, however you say it. It's a game I'm really sort of looking forward to. Well, pleased that it's coming to Xbox. How do you guys feel about it?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's quite a surprise actually. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, there's not a lot of new announcements at this extended showcase from just what I'm seeing, but yeah, definitely that's obviously a positive, certainly.
Yeah,
I mean, played it?
No, I've not actually played it. That's one of the ones that I've got my list of ones that I've been wanting to play. I've got a few friends that have recommended it to me. So now I think that will be one of the ones that's I'm going to tackle as soon as
And I don't have a PC, so unfortunately I have not had the chance to jump on the hype train like so many others have. I've had to ride alongside with my Xbox. So yeah, looking forward to checking this out when it finally debuts on Game Pass. It's going to be huge for Game Pass.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no excuses because I've got the PC. I could have played it.
You're the PC guy as well.
Yeah, the thing is, I've played probably, I've at least tested probably about 300 games over the past 18 months. Games I've got off of GOG and various things, that I've just thought, well, whatever, it's a few quid, I'll give it a go. Things off of Humble Bundle and stuff like that, but Valheim never showed up in any of those. Yeah, I mean, I think certainly the kind of large-scale PvP side of things goes hand in hand with the Xbox's multiplayer offering for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, is it cross-play with PC?
I think it is going to be.
Yep.
I think it is. Yeah.
I thought most games now are starting to kind of use that feature, especially Microsoft and the PC side of things.
Well, I think multiplayer games tend to do really well on Game Pass. Like they really do benefit from the large player bases, and I think sort of people are starting to realise that.
Right.
So I'm definitely that kind of knowing that there's going to be a huge influx of new players there. It certainly attracts me more to installing it on the PC and getting on there to see, because it will be chaotic in the game. It will be really quite, it will be an interesting time. Plus, there'll be a lot of new players as well, so it won't feel so bad to hop on as a new player myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that with PUBG when when it got released onto sort of PlayStation and stuff like that, and suddenly I was, I'll go back into that. I'll be able to win a few games. I still didn't win any games at that point.
Just a quick side note here: a lot of these games that go to Game Pass, you can play them on PC. In fact, a lot of them are actually PC only. So I would be surprised if they introduce this game and it does not have crossplay.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. Like they have a bunch of games that are PC only. Like I think what was it, Age of 4 Empires is on Game Pass, but you can only play it on PC.
Yeah, that is coming though to consoles. That's
I do think there's
they're reporting it.
I mean, there's definitely the business case from Microsoft's end. You know, if they've got a title that's been released on PC, if there's a title released on PC and it pulls it onto Xbox, a big part of your revenue stream is going to be gamers that will be asking their friends and saying, well, you don't have a gaming PC, but you've got an Xbox, so get the game. You know, it will increase Game Pass subscription as well. I would imagine. What's the monetary cost for the Game Pass?
For the Ultimate,
Like
it's
$15 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends. Yeah, you can do it annually.
Sorry,
as well.
Breeze. I mean, interrupt.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so they'll be looking at that, I'm sure. So what was it, Breeze? You said 15?
No, yeah, about 15. $14.99.
Yeah, so that'll be a big part of that whole strategy. Want it to be kind of pulling games, making them cross play with PC. Will sort of, you know, there will be a lot of players who will have wanted to play with their friends but not been able to. That will be attracted to that for sure.
And if you need another reason to jump on that, the Turtles game is coming this week. Shredder?
Tomorrow, yeah. Oh, I cannot wait for that. But,
Yep.
but just going back to Valheim, Breeze, have you played it? Because you're a PC gamer.
I play it. I love it.
You play it?
I love it.
Talk to me about it, because I've not played it. Talk to me about it. Like, what sort of game is it?
Well, it's a exploration adventure game, role playing game. Where I started off on an island, and you have to survive basically and build your base up. And I'll say this: I got to a point where I was just battling. I was doing a lot of the objective missions and just trying to get my character level up and get stronger. I found myself, because I was playing by myself, it took a lot longer to progress in the game. I didn't get a chance to really get super aggressive with it because I didn't have other people to play with. And I just found myself, just slowly moving along, always going back to my base and fighting those night elves and just try to get stronger. So I have fun with it, but I have more fun when I play with other people. And I've only played it with a couple of my friends. We didn't go too far because they went and jumped on something else. So
okay.
But I think it's great. It's coming to Game Pass. Yet, I agree with every one of you saying how it's going to open up that game so much.
Yeah.
It's going to bring a whole new the console players.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And those games thrive off higher player bases and stuff. It's just a fact. So the more people you're going to put it, obviously the people who haven't already got it on PC, but who have PC Game Pass, will probably end up playing it, but we'll have access to it, and then obviously you put it on the console as well. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to playing it myself. But yeah, I suppose we better move on. So Valheim, that was sort of a short snippet at the start, and then we went into an interview with Pete Hines of Bethesda, and he spoke a bit about Redfall. He spoke a little bit about Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76.
And Fallout 5 a little bit, or was that more Todd Howard?
I think that was Todd Howard, and that was
after
an interview. And that was an interview with Ryan McCaffrey.
I mean, it's nice to know that we've got a Fallout game coming in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
God, no. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Skyrim will be ported to every refrigerator on the planet.
I mean, it's funny to be thinking to myself, I'm going to be nearly 50 and sitting going, right, here's Fallout. Yep.
Let's not even think about that.
Still using VATs, of course.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
This Fallout game is amazing. I wish I could see it.
I genuinely
you got
think
cataracts and everything.
I mean, I genuinely believe that it's more likely that we will end up in a nuclear fallout ourselves before the game comes out.
Oh wow!
I mean, genuinely,
as usual, bringing the positivity to the chat.
Well, a little
my job
dose
to bring all the negativity and the mopishness. Come on.
Well, to be honest, I'm quite excited about the most realistic Fallout game ever, which would be real life. So, I mean, I'm excited about that.
You're one of these doomsday planners, are you?
Yeah, well, I love the idea. Honestly, I would be out there rummaging through all the bins, right? I'd be happy, I'd do it anyway.
Bottle caps. Go and get myself. Do some trading.
Yeah. I've actually started collecting bottle caps already, just in case. So
yeah. But okay, one of the other things that was spoken about was obviously Arcane Austin, developers of Prey, an amazing game by the way, which is also in Game Pass now as well, and that's how I initially played it. It is such a good game.
And that's Prey 2016, yeah.
Prey, it came out in 2016, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so good. It's so good. Really heavy on narrative. Like, you just have to play it. It's really good. And if they add that kind of heavy narrative into a game you can play co-op, it's like I've spoken many times about it. I've written about it. I was watching on Disney Plus. I was watching The Strain. Apparently, it's old. It's been out for years, but it's the first time I came across it. And it's basically like 28 days later, like vampires, like chasing you around. They're like, it's just kind of that kind. It's got that kind of vibe to it, except like at the start of an outbreak, rather than it being like already at the world having fallen apart. And it starts off in New York, and it's really you should watch it. But basically, the trailer of Redfall reminded me of watching The Strain. And I was like, if it's anything like what Arcane can deliver, and that narrative is anything even similar to this, which it looks like it kind of is from the atmosphere of the trailer, then I'm hype.
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
I'm quite excited about this. I do like the idea of something narrative with vampires. I'm a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, and I read your post earlier about the game, and you mentioned Buffy and how you got that sense from it. I'm kind of hoping there's something to that in the game. Sarah Michelle Gellar's still around. Maybe she does a cameo or something. That would be fantastic. That's the sort of thing. But yeah, no, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from that. It looks awesome. So yeah, totally with you on that hype.
Yeah, I'm behind. I don't know, behind's the right word. I'm with you on that point, behind you on that point in terms of the Buffy connection. In fact, it was Steve and an ex-girlfriend of mine who kind of cajoled me when probably about 10 years ago to watch Buffy, and I watched it in a big, like, one long go. And it was just phenomenal. So any game that kind of evokes that sense.
I mean, it's more darker, I would say. It's kind of more, I would say it's darker, but I'm hoping that if it's done well, it could be awesome, and I'm impressed so far from it.
Yeah, it is darker, and that's where it's maybe more a bit. Like
it's when I say Buffy.
Darker.
Yeah,
you know what it needs though. Here's what it needs: a Blade crossover.
Well, that I was just thinking. Was I going to say Blade? Is it maybe like Blade, just because it's more of a darker side of it? It could be.
It's got that motif. I mean, when you take a good look at it, like these characters have attitude. They're tired of vampires and everything like that, and they have the tools to get it done. They have the tools to like push them back and everything like that. The only thing missing is like a Blade character say, some of these mother effers go uphill or. Sorry, I've been traveling in space. The quote's not exactly accurate.
No, fair enough. Well, what about you, Breeze? What are you saying about it? Like Redfall, I know we've spoken about this on the podcast before.
Right.
Like, I know you're hyped for this game, but like now you've seen gameplay. What are you saying?
Oh, I'm day one. That's all I'm saying. Listen. What I appreciated about this interview with Pete was that first off the transparency that Bethesda is giving, and then hooking up with these or partnering with these studios, I should say, and for Redfall, I expect to have that same I would say suspense as I did in Prey when I went to go play it before it dropped. And if I can expect some things in Redfall that I did in Prey and Dishonored, it's gonna be great. The fact that you can use all of these tools, that it's player based instead of scripted based. So yeah, we're gonna follow a story, but they're not giving us a linear way to finish objectives, if you will, and working with other people and to me that's the cool thing about it, is that I get to see how you're going to use your tools and how we use them together.
Yeah, that's actually something Pete Hines said. He said it's you will get a different experience playing this co-op. So if you play it single player,
right?
And I mean, I know that's part of that sounds obvious, but I think he meant more than in terms of like the game will. it will rather than the different experience being another person there, you will play it differently.
Right.
If you're playing single player, and I think that's good. That's massive for replayability.
Yeah, that's.
But also, it means you have the option of playing with your buddies and playing
or playing by yourself, or returning to the game and it not being the same. That's those type of details I really can appreciate, because it makes me okay. Well, what am I going to get into today when I log back on? How is it going to change? So I'm kind of excited and expecting to see what those changes are. And I'm very heavy on co-op games, so just to play them with somebody is going to be awesome.
Love it. Yeah, and then obviously, I mean, he spoke about Elder Scrolls Online. That update does look quite cool. High Isle, which is obviously High Rock, and it's where the Bretons are. I actually, after watching it, I did kind of want to go back and play it.
Well,
Benny,
we are going.
Have you been playing it?
No,
you're reviewing
but it's all ready. I've got everything set up basically.
Yeah, sure.
So I think I was kind of trying to work out how to get it. I got it all loaded up. What I had to do obviously was to reinstall ESO, which took an entire night to do because it was so massive. But I'm excited to get into that. I mean, I played ESO quite extensively, like you get to your kind of crown point levels.
Yeah, the champion points.
Or champion points, sorry. I'm talking about the currency. So I kind of leveled my character up pretty far. Never got to the stage of collecting the kind of super rare gear or anything yet, but I was kind of on my way to doing that, and then obviously got busy with other stuff. But I'm in a perfect position with that now to jump back in and experience that. So I'm quite excited. Obviously, we're going to be covering that, so that'll be fun. Yes, so that will be when's the date? The date again? It's
drops on Xbox on 21st.
Yeah, so what we put, well, obviously what I'm going to put together will be appearing on or before that day anyway. So that's something to look forward to for anyone listening to this just now. There's going to be some coverage of that there, a review. So yeah, I'm excited for sure, because I really enjoyed the Elder Scrolls Online. And do you know, it's funny actually, what Breeze was saying about playing games on your own. A large part of Elder Scrolls Online I played by myself, and I didn't, I wasn't really kind of participating with other people. But then towards a kind of later stage, you have to team up with people, or you just cannot complete the quests.
Right.
They become so impossibly difficult. Like I did try to go into some myself, and I was just instantly vaporized by everything that was there. So yeah, but yeah, it's a very enjoyable game. It gets a lot of criticism from people who are more used to the single player Bethesda offerings, but I think ZeniMax have done a pretty good job with it. Really,
I think they have too. I definitely think they have. I think they've added a fair chunk of decent lore to it. I thought I liked some of the characters in there. There's because I'm big into the whole Elder Scrolls lore, as I know you are.
Yeah.
And, I really enjoyed playing it.
I mean, the problem with it, I think, and it's something that kind of, because I went away from ESO, excuse me, I feel like we're all coughing. I need to stop coughing so much. With ESO, after a while, I would want to go back and play something like Skyrim, just because, for instance, fighting an enemy in Elder Scrolls Online, you kill it, it respawns immediately. The enemies don't feel the same to fight.
No, it's a different combat. It is. It's not as good. It doesn't feel. It feels like you're playing an MMO. God, why can't I say that?
Well, a little tip I'd give to players is, if you want it to feel like an Elder Scrolls game, play it in first person, because it genuinely feels much more like playing, especially when you're walking around and exploring, which is fabulous. It's actually staggering the amount of game world there is to explore. I mean, it's just enormous.
You explore the whole of Tamriel. That's pretty much so. It is good. It's not. It doesn't feel as lived in, nowhere near or anything like that. But it is really good. But yeah, I mean, what do you got? Anyone else play Elder Scrolls Online here? Have any thoughts on the update for it? I mean, no one would have played the update yet, but anyone looking forward to it?
I have. So I'll let you go.
Good.
I haven't played it. No, my brother is a huge fan of it, and I've heard many great things. I've been tempted to play it, but now with the update, I think it might actually be the thing that might get me to go into it. Fan of it, and I've heard many great things. I've been tempted to play it, but now with the update, I think it might actually be the thing that might get me to go into it. I'm a huge fan of Oblivion and Skyrim, so I don't know if does that. I know you were saying, or was it Fran was saying that the people that have played those games have.
Wait, edit.
Sorry. Oh. All right. Yeah. So Benny was saying earlier about how people that have maybe came from this traditional ZeniMax games with Skyrim, Oblivion, am I going to find it difficult to transition to the Elder Scrolls Online? I've never played also like an MMO before, so I don't know if that would be.
I would actually say it's a good gateway to you as a person who's played Bethesda RPGs. It's quite a good gateway into the world of MMOs because you'll feel familiar enough with it that you'll get used to the different gameplay style.
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, because I love their lore. I just love the so rich. So the idea of that. Because I remember at the time I used to when I played Oblivion, I would love the idea of imagining other players in that world. So I can't actually believe that I haven't tried it yet.
Alright, get on. What are you gonna play it on?
Well, currently I'm on. Well, my Xbox One is I don't have it at the moment.
It's incarcerated.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a PS4. I've actually just got that recently. So, but I'm gonna have to invest now with all of these games coming out. I'm gonna have to invest in one of the new consoles series or the PS5. So yeah, once I've got my mortgage is about to be sorted, then I move into my house. But by a few months' time, I'm going to have to get one of these consoles and really go for it. I think on then.
Do you know what's quite funny actually when you're talking about real players in the world? Like I always found it quite funny in Elder Scrolls Online when I'd be walking around a village and you'd see like 15 people all hopping by, somersaulting, giant snowflakes coming out of them as well.
Oh guys, we should definitely do it. We should all play it and start.
Oh, I would be up for that. That sounds awesome. Yep.
Yeah, I'll be the one in the corner getting murdered by chickens. Knowing me, or you like hit one chicken in the village goes ape nuts and be like, what are you doing there, chicken?
I'm sure it'll help us. A distraction technique or something.
That's our weather chicken. What are you doing?
They have a lot of vampires actually. Going back to Redfall or in Elder Scrolls Online, and they call them like blood.
Blood castrated. I don't know.
No, they call them blood. I had it in my literally in my head a minute ago, and then I got distracted by something light on my screen.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Right, I got distracted. That would distract me. I'm terrified of chickens. I would be off out the window. Yeah, I'm not massive on anything that looks like it has,
Listen, I tell you, when
you're talking about blood fiends. You're talking about blood fiends.
Blood fiends, yeah.
I was going to say, Mopish, I'm definitely going to be showing up. Like when we inevitably meet, you're going to answer the door, and there'll be me with a chicken. I'm going to have to do it.
Wave a bucket of KFC in from him.
Oh no! I'd take down that KFC. I love KFC, but it's when they're alive and with feathers on. That's
so dead chickens are okay then.
Well, I can stuff a bird,
All I can think of is a Family Guy. All I can think of in Family Guy where a chicken is beating the crap out of Peter Griffin.
That's kind of how it is for me. Yeah, that's how I imagine it.
Like, it's just gonna be like, get away from me, chicken. I don't know where you've been.
Chickens, anything is like, okay, chickens are tame compared to how I feel about turkeys, but I feel we're getting off topic here.
Well, I was going to say this is the best sidetrack ever. Any podcast I've ever heard where we're having a legitimate discussion about chickens. So there you go.
Well, yes. So basically, Anyway, moving on, we're going to go and we're going to talk about the King himself, made by God himself, and that is, of course, Starfield, and obviously by God Howard and team. Pete Hines, he didn't really give us too much more. Obviously, Todd Howard did in his IGN interview with Ryan McCaffrey. He did. I mean, there were a few things, and some people are upset by this. I myself am not really. So it's kind of like when you go from launching into space, there's no transition. It's not a seamless transition. You have to you'll go into sort of a landing sequence, and it will happen and do it auto.
Fine. I mean, the thing is, as you know,
it's no different to like going up to a door of like solitude or something and pressing A to get in.
Look, at the end of the day, right? I mean, there was a few. I've saw a few complaints online about it where they've said things like, "I'm not happy about the fact you can't fly the spaceship directly onto the planet. I'm not happy about the fact that the protagonist doesn't speak." It's like, you know what? Then you are not a fan of any game that Bethesda's ever made before, because the classic Bethesda games have transitions from overworld to town or city, which is effectively what it is from space to planet. And also, anybody who likes the original games, which were the better ones, I mean, from Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, and the older Fallout games, the reason that people liked to role play in those games is because somebody wasn't speaking for us.
That thing as well. I've seen the complaints.
Here's the thing. Now, I'm looking at this one guy, a friend of mine, Hip Hop Gamer, right? He said Starfield was not impressive because there was a silent lead character, stiff animations, you make your own story. I mean, you're not impressed by the idea that you can make your own legacy in the universe?
I literally hold my head in my hands with people like that. And you know what? If that person's listening right now, your opinion is not my opinion, right?
Number one, the game's a year away anyway, so they still got time to work on it. Number two, based on what we've seen so far, there is incredible potential here. Absolutely incredible. I mean, customization alone, how many people are going to build penis ships?
I had thought of it, but no.
I mean, I'm not, but I'm sure Mopich is already thinking, hey, 6 a fleet full.
I mean, it would be if it was an MMO and you could do that, it would be hilarious to do that.
I mean, I suppose it's not entirely what my character would probably do, but it's nice to know the option is there.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I've already decided I'm playing my first playthrough as a space pirate. I just I'm going to once I found out you can board other people's ships. I'm just going to be just going around just boarding, looting every ship I can find. I do wonder though, because I think what you can do is you can take your ship down within the atmosphere and explore the planet in your ship. But if you wanted to go into space, you'd have to sort of go through the transition,
which is fine. I mean, the thing is, do you want to know something really interesting? No Man's Sky has a hidden transition from planet to space anyway, right? Because there's a little moment where it's kind of like, if even on the best PC imaginable, which is kind of almost what I've got right now, playing No Man's Sky, as you go up from the planet, there's a little moment where no matter what your frame rate is, it will dip for a second. That's the game tricking you and going from planet to space, right? It was the same with Elite Dangerous as well. The geography mapping kicks in at a certain point. It's never seamless. So anybody who says that is a completely ignorant fool.
It's also it's not a space sim. It's a space epic RPG.
Yeah.
And you just don't get that. If you're going to have all these narratives and all these RPG mechanics within your game, the level of AI that they have in this game, all these mini games like the lock picker mini game that we're looking at, which looks so good, you're just not going to get that in a space sim game.
That's exactly it.
Who would want a space sim?
Can we just talk about?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the thing about it, right, is that. That's a very good point, because in No Man's Sky and Elite Dangerous, you don't have lots of NPCs walking about on the surface of the planets, right? No. So it's not, in order to instance that as one giant world would be, it would be at this stage in our technological development, it would not be possible to have all of that running in an instance, because obviously whether they go back to some kind of more sort of radiant AI system, then that would have to be accounted for. So that's what's going to be loaded up when the planet loads up. The instance of the planet with all of the intricate things that no doubt will be going on there. So I
You're completely right.
I think there's one thing you guys are overlooking here too. You're looking at the role-playing elements. You're looking at the non-playable characters and all this. I mean, looking at the universe there, but the action itself looks really well done. Whether you're shooting these giant ships in space with your lasers, or if on the ground, it looks like what Destiny was trying to do, but just a slight bit better. I don't know what it is. It just feels like there's a little bit of better difference in terms of how the gameplay is grasped here.
I definitely agree. I think the flight mechanic and the shooting in space looked really, really cool and really, really fun. There was some criticisms of the combat, and it kind of looked like Fallout combat,
it's Bethesda. I mean, in a way, you could say Skyrim's medieval Fallout combat to a extent, So you could Bethesda has this formula kind of nailed down, but it's kind of interesting how to do the elements.
I didn't think the combat looked bad. That's what I'm trying to say.
Me too.
Until I saw all these people saying, "Oh, the combat," I was like, "So okay, I don't really know where they're getting this from because I really liked the combat on Fallout." Anyway, go on, Breeze. Sorry.
No, you're good. I just don't see how anybody can say they don't like the combat if they haven't played it yet. I could see if you played it.
Yeah, the only thing I could see was a slight frame issue, but I mean it was it's the early build, and we're talking a year from now. But that's the only thing I could see. I mean, how?
A year from now.
I think I'd love to see more of the multiplayer aspects. I'd love to see more of the multiplayer stuff.
I would like to see that as well.
See how you can invade ships and stuff.
That part, because I don't know if anyone else is. I know on PC you can play a lot more. Games. I do.
Yes.
And I did a review for a game called Space Engineers.
I've played that.
Have you? Do you have that? I have.
Yeah.
Listen, that engine is dope. Their concept is dope. And they use real world engineering for you to build your ships, bases. It's like No Man's Sky for PC, but it's been out. Can I say it's been out longer or in development longer? It's been in development longer. But it's on PC only. So when I saw Starfield, I heard about Starfield, I immediately thought of Space Engineers. When I also got to see and hear, Pete talk about how you would have to develop your ship, how you have to upgrade. Everything is customizable. You have to find resources to upgrade it. Are you going to pay somebody to do it? Or are you going to just do it yourself and go through the mission?
You can really...
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is with Space Engineers, Breeze, obviously, we all know this from having played it, it is so intricate. I mean, you can build your ship panel by panel.
Yes.
And it's almost overwhelmingly there's an almost overwhelming sense of freedom in the game.
Yeah.
In terms of what you can do, whereas I think Starfield's going to be a little bit more modular.
Of course.
Of
course, I see that, but I do feel like the concepts of how you can upgrade certain parts of your ship is still taking on that engineering aspect, and I just look forward to it. I look forward to the space combat of it. Like, people are complaining about transitions, but you're gonna be able to fly the ship and engage in space combat. What's wrong with it?
You're are you a bit of a fan of space games and things like that? Then
I am, right, okay. and prehistoric or history, like dinosaurs. I'm a big fan of Ark.
Oh, no. Yeah. How good does that look? Ark 2. We've spoken about this as well, Breeze.
Ark 2, the Fast and the Furious Jurassic Park.
That's all right. I'm ready to get on a raptor and have the modded raptor.
The trailer does make it look like that, Gladius, but it...
That's not a raptor, that's family.
It's nothing like that, honestly. It's a survival game.
When you tame it's family.
Survival Evolved, you should give that a go.
You're gonna name it? No, but yeah, I do enjoy space games, and I'm going to enjoy this. I enjoy the Outer Worlds.
I love that as well.
Yeah,
I love that game. There wasn't enough of it though.
No, it wasn't. I was so disappointed.
Do you know, that was the first game in a long time where I went around the world loads of times just to try and comb it for every last detail because I didn't want it to be over.
Right.
I was like, I would go to each planet or whatever. I was like, right, I need to literally explore every inch of this.
Yeah.
And I would find stuff, but yeah, I mean, it was like, I've got high hopes for the sequel.
I do.
Yeah, me too. Now it's got because apparently it had a super small budget, because it was it was before they got acquired by Microsoft, who was publishing it. I can't remember.
Well,
But
Obsidian basically made the best Fallout game in my opinion, which was Fallout New Vegas. So, and Obsidian's fingerprints were all over Outer Worlds. The style, the kind of, there was almost like you could tell they wanted to create a faction system similar to New Vegas, but they didn't obviously have the time or the budget. So if they've got the budget and the time and the sequel is anything like that, then I don't know what I'm going to do in the next few years with games. I'm going to have to just give up my jobs, like just live inside like a cave and just with like solar panels and play games all day. Because I'm going to have no time. I mean, honest to God.
What, eat ramen?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would just eat raw haggis. You know what I mean? honest to God. Like, just go and hunt it and then bring it home and eat it. I mean, I don't know.
Nasty case of gas, I'm telling you what.
Yeah. But it'll be worth it, believe me. But yeah, it's just, does anybody else feel that kind of overwhelmed sense with the amount of stuff that is on the horizon and the stuff that's already out? It's like, what do I play?
2023 is going to be insane. That's the thing. Like, Microsoft does not have any big games coming this year. They all seem to be coming in 2023. The only big thing they have, it seems, are that add-on for Halo for Microsoft Flight Simulator and the Forza Horizon 5 Lego add-on. Everything else is 2023. At least that's the way. I mean, I thought there was something for October, but that may have been a third-party thing. There are a few games coming out this year, but most of it is 2023. Which is going to be insane.
Yeah,
but
all the bigger stuff coming to them this year is third party. Some of it is third party exclusives, but then obviously you do have Pentiment coming. That's a Josh Sawyer game. That game looks very. It looks interesting. It's a very, very narrative-driven thing, yeah. So, and it's based in like in the 16th century or something like that. So I would think I would like it, but it depends because it's not combat gameplay. So it's going to be a divisive game. You're either going to like it or you're not. And I think that is. I mean, we'll find out as we go through this list. But yeah, no, they do have some third-party exclusives coming, but they have like loads of stuff coming to day one in Game Pass as well. They've got, if anyone remembers from last year, it didn't make an appearance this year, but it was oh god, what's it called?
What's it about?
It looks like BioShock, but it's not.
Atomic Heart.
Atomic Heart, yeah, that's the one. They got that. That looks so good. That's coming out. There's obviously a Plague's Tale Requiem, and Plague's Tale Innocence was a banger. It's in Game Pass now if anyone hasn't played it, but it's also multi-plat as well. It's so good. It's so good.
And of course, we should not leave out that the new Saints Row is coming as well as Gotham Knights.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Interestingly enough, with Atomic Heart, I mean, I remember it must have been about was it that game's been in development for must be about 10 years. It must be 5 or 10 years, something like that, because I remember seeing videos of Atomic Heart years ago, like sort of demo reels and things like that. Is that about right, Galadrius?
Yeah, it's been in the works for a while now, but you have to understand they want to make sure everything is perfect on it.
Because but I mean, it looked. I remember the kind of demo, like the original stuff that was coming out for it. Even then, looked just astonishing. It was like, my God, this really, I mean, it was so ahead of its time. So, I mean, it still looks good even now. But at the time when I was looking at the videos about it, I was just blown away by it. And that whole idea of the kind of, like, it's almost like sci-fi meets mystical meets horror meets, it's this bizarre environment just looks incredible.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I want to kind of touch on the game I thought looked really good. I know it didn't really set everybody's world on fire like it kind of did mine, but I'm a fan of hack and slashers. So I want to give a shout out to Naraka Blade Point.
Which is our next game anyway, which I was about to move us on to afterwards.
I was about to say, yeah. So, hey, nice to be back on subject. Hey. But no, I know it looks like a battle royale game and it's all hack and slash and everything. It's been on PC for a while, but it's debuting on Xbox this week. And it's supposed to have a nice co-op campaign mode. It's supposed to have some new characters in it. It looks really good. I mean, like I said, I know it's not everybody's speed. Some of you out there aren't hackers or slashers or anything like that, mopish. But
No, wait. I'm not really. But that being said, this game looks like a PvP Dynasty Warriors, and that does sound appealing to me.
Yep. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it'll get a nice little following, especially if it's on Xbox Game Pass, which I believe it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll be fine. People are just going to jump into that, you know. As if the Ninja Turtles game that's coming out tomorrow doesn't have enough hack and slash going on. Everybody's going to get hacked and slashed.
Everyone's going to get hacked and slashed. Yeah, I mean, what do you got? Does anyone else have any thoughts on sort of...
Well, I was just going to say, growing up in Scotland, hack and slash is a way of life, not just a game. So yeah, we are very used to that genre. Believe me.
Are you sure it's not haggis and slash?
Well, it can be.
If I ever create a game, that's going to be the name of the game.
Yeah. Haggis and slash.
Yep. It has to be.
I'd play it.
Yeah.
we play it every day.
Yeah, it's wet, like you said. It's a way of life up there. Right. Okay. What about you, Breeze? What are you thinking about Naraka Blade? Have you played it?
I have not played it.
I
have not played it. I look forward to playing it though. Mm-hmm. And I'm, I will say I haven't played a JRPG in a very long time. So
no, yeah, fair enough.
I'm excited to play it. I look forward to it. And if it's one thing I love about being a samurai is able to like run on trees and shit. So
yeah, that grappling hook.
Yeah.
Never mind targets. I'm gonna jump on.
Back of the box quote right there. You can run on trees and shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but they
Tarzan got that I ain't got. I'm swinging.
Yeah. And that grappling hook. I just want to transverse through the air just like that. And
see, now we know what she really wants. Yeah. The Sekiro sequel.
Right.
Look at that. Here it is on the screen now. Grappling hook. Oh, yes, yeah. Grappling hook. It's just, that is one way to get me into a game. I think that's the whole reason I preferred Wind Waker out of all the other Zeldas, that grappling hook. The hook, it's just not the same as the hook shot. Anyway, yeah, so, okay, well, I did actually put as well in my notes, and this is a shout out to him in case he listens to him, Kyle, one of our colleagues. I put at Naraka Blade Point, I put in brackets Kyle. I was like, just Kyle loves his sort of like Japanesey games like this, like hack and slash.
I mean, what's great about them is the sheer outrageousness of what goes on. I mean, and that's something from JRPGs. It's just this kind of, it's not just you whack someone with a sword. It's like you hit them 17 times and they explode. Do you know what I mean? There's all this sort of thing going on, and it's also the sort of the style, the look of the game as well. There's a kind of a sheen to everything. They look gorgeous, and this does look gorgeous as well.
Yeah, it's a colourful game.
I'm excited. The main point, okay, like on the video that they showed us, did you see how you could put your face on the character?
Yeah, I think I saw that
I can't
again
wait.
just a minute ago, yeah.
I can't wait. Do you know I'm going to be a samurai? My face is going to be in the game. I'm
actually, see my little picture there, the little scribbled out face? That's what I'm going to put on it.
That's what you're going to put on that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Grounded. We're going to get to that later, though.
That's right. We have more.
Our history untold. Now, I'm not sure what I feel about this game. Does anyone have any strong opinions on it?
It's a Civilization vibe game. That's what I take away from the trailer, because it's like we haven't had a new Civilization game in a few years, and it sounds like this might be a fresh strategic take on it, but it's PC only, so I can't really say much, but the people that like Civilization should be able to enjoy it.
It's just turn-based. That's what puts me off it. I'm not that big on turn-based stuff. Like, if I want to play a turn-based game, Pokemon is as far as I go.
Well, it's kind of in the 4X region, isn't it? It's that sort of idea of your kind of grand strategy type of thing, which I quite like. I mean, they did develop as well Ashes of the Singularity. Did anybody ever play that?
No.
So that came out at 2016. It was, and that was a more sort of space-based sort of thing. And I
have a feeling a load of people I used to work with played that. But go on, sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, I was never deep into it or anything, but it's more. It's kind of more. I don't know. It gives you that sort of. If you've played that, you'd have a general idea of what to expect from this, I would reckon, to be honest. But yeah, obviously they're going to have developed quite a bit, because that was 2016, so you're talking, 6 years ago that came out. They did have some DLC for it as well, but it was released about the same time, so it must have been during the same development cycle. But You know, I think the thing that was impressive at the time was the amount of action that could take place at one time. So, you know, you could control enormous amounts of units, and kind of oversee these epic battles. So, yeah, I wonder whether that's an element of this as well. But it does have more of the civilization builder vibe. This certainly does.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by it. But I mean, I don't think they're not like a developer that's putting out 10 out of 10 games. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like Singularity got sort of 7.7.
Is it anything like Crusader Kings, but with a sort of slightly different narrative? Because Crusader Kings I do like.
Let me just have a quick look. I'm not very familiar with Crusader Kings.
It possibly could be. It's like to me, it seems like a mixture of Civilization, Tropical, and Age of Empires. I don't know if you've ever played Age of Empires, but it gives me strong Age of Empire vibes, and I appreciated those. I grew up on those, so I look forward to it. I'm not turn-based strategy games. I like them. I'll play them. I guess it just depends on the time periods that are covered and the mechanics of the time-based game that draws me interest. Like, I liked how Age of Empires was. I liked how Civilization was. Warhammer, I like how that is.
I think UI is important in a turn-based game. I think if it's a nice, simple UI to navigate, and so you can kind of like see everything that you can do at one point, and it's not too bad. But I remember there was this one, and I don't know if it was the one that you were talking about a minute ago, and the guys at work, they tried to get him involved in it, and I just remember opening up and being like, nope.
Well, it's a big investment because there's a lot involved. I mean, the thing is, there's kind of like, if you look at human evolution, there's obviously, or like evolution on Earth, there's like divergent paths and things like that. There's kind of two major areas of strategy. So you've got your sort of real-time strategy, and then you've got your turn-based strategy. So you've got your games like Civilization, like Age of Empires, all that sort of thing, and then on the other side you've got things like it kind of branches out, like through your kind of from things that are more like grand strategy, like Stellaris, which is not turn-based,
right?
But then you move into things like, say, your sort of you mentioned Warhammer, so like your Warhammer Dawn of War, all that sort of series, your Command and Conquers, your kind of tactical real-time strategy.
Command and Conquer, yes.
Yep. Now, all of that stuff like that. Now, for years and years and years, like, I mean, I remember doing a review of Advance Wars on the Game Boy Advance. Like, I'm talking like 20 years ago.
There was a new one coming out. They delayed it because of the war, though.
Well, yeah, I think they did, yeah. But just to kind of finish what I was saying, so it's like this.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. No, it's just I don't want to lose my train of thought. It's just this idea of strategy games being. Are they still a niche audience, or is there the audience out there for them? I think there's more of an audience for real-time strategy than turn-based.
Well, I feel like the whole thing with games becoming more and more accessible, like mobile games and stuff like that, there's definitely a market for strategy games, and like also, mobile is quite because you've got all the touch screens on mobile and stuff, so you can kind of do the real-time strategy games.
Well, that's it. You've got your sort of
tactical ones. I mean, I feel like they're more common in in sort of like non-US and European markets. Maybe sort of like the Asian markets and Australia and stuff.
Well, you've got your other ones as well, like the whole offshoot of tower defense, which was very much the kind of mobile side of things. The whole tower defense genre that was created, which is great as well. But yeah, I mean, give me a good strategy game, a good 4X game. You know what I mean, Breeze, don't you? But like with 4X, like you were talking about all those games that you used to play.
Yeah.
Like you can get so deep into those. Like, I mean, I used to play a game called Star Trek: Birth of the Federation, which was a 4X game, and I actually had kept the same save file going for about 8 years.
Oh, nice.
Where I would just dip into it now and again and sort of do a bit here and there. But the thing was, I did. This is a bit of a side note. but I think it was one of the Civilization games. There was a guy who, I want to say Civilization 2, but there was a guy who had kept the same game running for 2 decades, but he left the game running all the time, right? And running automatically just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating about how, because it did keep going. There was no turn limit to it, and this world became just this radioactive nightmare ruled by, I think it was ruled by Gandhi or something like that. But yeah, it was just really interesting. So anyway, sorry about that. It's a bit of a
cool.
A side note.
No, that's actually pretty cool if anybody's played the game. And I never really thought to just let it run and see what it would do or the outcome it would happen.
Well, in the game, it was running for thousands and thousands of years. So what I'll do is, Breeze, I'll send you a link to that article, actually.
Yeah, please. That's interesting.
But we are needing to move on
Okay.
as the show's getting ahead of us because I guess there's just a lot to talk about. Grounded, they're talking about version 1.0. They've had over 10 million players. That's insane, and I'm so pleased for them. This game, like, I played it when it first came out. I've gone back to it a few times. The last time, I think, is when they introduced the achievements. I went through. I'm really glad they finished the story because I was kind of like
bummed out.
Yeah. And I was kind of like, oh, well, what more do I, where else do I go? Probably will go back to it now and just finish off. Probably get the 1,000 Gs, hopefully. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially that where they just were in like the forest temple or whatever it is. That was like going along the zip lines in the tree. If anyone's played it, going along the zip lines in the trees and stuff, that was so much fun. And there's like a massive sort of like base in the trees somewhere.
Oh, nice.
That was a lot of fun doing that. Has anyone else ever played it? Like,
I haven't played it. It looks incredible. I'll let you go.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy what I played out of it so far. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
Yes.
It's fun. It's like, it's cheesy. It's kind of like like you say, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but in a video game. But it's Minecraft. Obviously, survival elements to it, RPG like elements to it. It's kind of fun. And it's like if you play it multiplayer, it's great.
The dev showcase, it was telling, I think the team that made Grounded are like the smallest team in Obsidian, so it was kind of cool to hear.
12 people.
Yeah, so you hear that and you see what they're coming out with, and it's like, wow, that I don't know how that computes.
Just goes to show like what devs can achieve once they get the backing to do their passion projects, So yeah. Anyway, is there anything more to say on Grounded? Obviously, it's been around on the scene, a good few years now.
Make Rick Moranis a narrator.
Okay,
yeah.
I was okay. Like, there's just so many Easter eggs that can be in this game from the movie, because when it first released in early access, I was like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, is that what this is? And then I went into it and I'm like, oh, this is great. Oh, and my friends, I'm like, download this right now. And like, we played it during COVID. We didn't have anywhere to go, so we just grinded on it. And we were so disappointed. We got to the point where the story stopped when you got underneath the tree.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh man, we can't go any further. And then when that next update hit, we were like, oh, we could go a little bit further. We couldn't go a little bit further with the story, but as far as our exploration, what we can do, base build, every single thing, I just really appreciate it. So, I just want to say kudos to them, because I look forward to playing this, and it's all its release. It had got a lot of people talked a lot of bad shit about that game, even with its 10 million players.
He just got ripped on. I think that was a console fanboy thing.
Yeah, they didn't understand that, but I thought that was so cool just to be able to play this game in early access, see how it's developed, be a part of that process. And I was bummed out when I couldn't progress.
And also, I think one other cool thing about this game, about Grounded, and it's early access. It tells us that consoles can handle early access games. This is going to be good news when Overwatch 2 drops in October, because it's going to be a good testing ground before the final game rolls around in 2023. Free to play, by the way. Just heads up.
I was going to add something on that. Sorry, just quickly on that note. So Xbox obviously has the game preview program. I don't think PlayStation has. It has obviously the demo
they have
thing
betas.
They're doing now.
They have betas, they have demos, they have stuff like that, but they don't have early access. Well,
yeah, they don't. Yeah, an early access or game on Xbox game preview. But I'm puzzled why, because I do a lot of speaking to like indie devs and stuff, like when writing up some like their news and stuff like that. And I've just thought, and they're like, oh yeah, no, we're in early access at the moment. I'm thinking, why aren't you on game preview as well? Like, I mean, maybe it's a workload thing or something, but I've always thought, like,
well,
why
I mean also one more thing to keep in mind here, Mopish, is that Mopish, I still call you that. One thing you have to keep in mind here is that a lot of these developers don't like to release incomplete stuff, because then you're like, oh well, the game's broken. Oh, they don't want to deal with those complaints. But a lot of people don't mind it. You see Steam early access all the time, and it's nice to see that Xbox is kind of adapting to that and allowing people to get into these games early, and then promising obviously down the line the finished product, compared to I don't know, Ubisoft releasing a broken Rainbow Six game and then maybe a year later it gets repaired. I prefer you do the early access thing because it shows a build in progress. It's really cool.
I think it's better that doing that than releasing a game that is meant to be its full official release, but really is actually like an early access with lacking in content and things like that. Right, and you have to keep patching. Right. It's the transparency actually is probably why it's better.
I mean, look how it worked for Grounded. I mean, a lot of people are excited for Grounded now, and it's finally dropping in October. So Yeah,
but Deep Rock Galactic, another game preview success story. That game was so good. It's like dwarves. It's like Left 4 Dead with dwarves drinking beer in space. It's like, so they go and they're mining, and
it's my life story.
These there's like hazards going on all up there as well, like in space. It's like giant bugs that come and attack you, much like Grounded. Any other thoughts on Grounded before we move on to talk about the flight sim bit with Paris Lily?
Well, I was just going to say, Obsidian alone makes me excited for anything. So yeah, that was my comment.
So Flight Sim, they're doing sort of a collaboration with the Air and Space Museum, Smithsonian or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep, which I've been to, which is awesome. I saw I've seen the the bit I was most excited about was seeing the actual real 1960s Starship Enterprise. But it's the 40th anniversary, I think it is, of Flight Simulator.
It is. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, to be honest, I mean the last Flight Simulator that came out, when you look at, I mean, I've never played it, but I mean I've watched videos of it, and you just think to yourself, this is truly astonishing. What they've managed to achieve with this. We're very quickly getting to the point where, I mean, people talk about, like, people say, is humanity and the universe a simulation? And you think, well, if we're at this stage now and you look at the way things were 40 years ago, what's going to be like in 1,000 years? What are we going to be simulating, And Microsoft Flight Simulator gives me that feeling. And I remember, I seem to recall, I may be wrong with this, but Flight Simulator, I think, kind of came bundled with Windows years ago. I'm pretty sure, or at least some releases of Windows would have some of the games that were, kind of attached to it. And I'd played older copies of it. And yeah, I mean, it's very much a kind of a cult audience of people who are very, like, the flight enthusiast guys. But I think they're trying to appeal to a broader audience now as well. Like, people who want to just kind of get into it, do you know what I mean? That don't have the entire cockpit set up in their downstairs basement or whatever. Or
I feel that's what I'd need to get into it though. Like, I played Flight Sim, and it was after I was wowed by it and like being like how impressive it all is. I was like, okay, to play, because I love racing sims. So I was like, to play that, and like for me personally, I'd need the sim setup. How does anyone? I mean, like, you got to admire the tech, but how does everyone else feel? Is this like, because it is a niche game? This is an example.
Yeah.
Of
the thing is,
the history angle is good, but obviously a lot of people are going in there to play that Halo ship.
Yeah, but I mean, I suppose the thing with Microsoft Flight Simulator is, right, it's not, you take off the plane and then you can, if you want, go for a 7-hour flight to America from Britain or whatever. Like, it's not the most exciting thing in the world sometimes, do you know what I mean? But there are exciting ways to play the game, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Now,
yeah.
which I think they're trying to kind of focus more on. But you said that you can play as the Halo ship in it.
Yeah, you can play as
There's,
a Pelican. Is it Pelican?
Pelican, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can play as a Pelican. But also, they did tease that you might be able to play as a... Because obviously they showed the Pelican out in the outer sort of atmosphere, upper atmosphere, like we're in space. And they did tease about having the space shuttle come onto flight sim, so you will actually be able to launch a rocket and sim a rocket going up to space, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I mean, I love that these games exist. I don't think I'll ever play it, but I'm very happy this game exists, and that sounds awesome news.
It is. What do you think, Breeze? Is it because I don't know? Is it the sort of game you'd play?
Well, yes. I haven't played it yet, though, just because there has been a lot of other games that have piqued my interest. But what I do find interesting about the flight simulator was being able to fly over Africa and Egypt and, these literal, like, maps of the world. Like, I just think that's dope.
Yeah.
It's
mind-boggling.
It is.
Yeah, you could go to your own home. You could go to your own home. You could go to your own street. Yeah.
Right.
Crashing my house.
Real life maps of the world that you can fly over. I just think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's the actual time frame that, like you mentioned, is like 8 hours. I just think that's dope. You could really do an 8-hour flight. I have a friend, in the Gamerholics group, Courtney, who Stealth Gamer, shout out to Stealth. He plays this game. He has the whole setup. He has the steering wheel and everything, and he says, "Well, I'm on my way to do my 8-hour flight."
Wow. That
he's
is
like
wow.
totally into it. And then when he does have to take his break, he puts it on autopilot. So it's really cool. I think it's a dope idea.
That's amazing.
I think simulations are awesome, especially because regardless if you're in the military, you use simulations to learn.
Well, that's it. I mean, the thing is, you think to yourself, Microsoft Flight Simulator has been out for a long time, right? How many actual pilots now got their start as kids playing that game?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, my friend, actually, this guy I used to work with, is like tech IT support guy. All these guys, they loved their sim games. And yeah, this guy, he was like, he would start off like a 12-hour flight before work, take off, put in the coordinates, go to work, come back and land the plane. Like, he was, because he wanted to get like his pilot's license. So he was like literally playing flight sim to do it. It's amazing how much detail is in it that it's worthwhile doing that. To like, obviously, I'm sure there's far more to it than obviously the flight sim itself, like difference being there. But yeah, it's awesome how accurate it is. It's not people who like, you think people playing video games, they'll pick it up and they'll be like, they'll push like the triggers in and press A or something, and they'll be like, why is it not going in the air? It's like you actually have to do what you would need to do to fly a plane on that.
Yeah, well, you've got all your pre-flight checks and making sure that the fuel's there and is the luggage allowance right and blah, 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 blah. And all the controls are responsive exactly the way they would be. And the thing is, with flying a plane, from what I can see in videos of this, you nudge the thing slightly the wrong way, you're going down. You know what I mean? It's not an easy thing to do. I don't know how pilots do it. I mean, I would be sobbing with fear the entire time if I was forced to fly a plane. Do you know what I mean?
I kept taking it and trying to get it into trying to pull out of nosedives.
Do a barrel roll.
That was quite fun. Squanch Games, High on Life, co-creators of Rick and Morty, oozes personality. This game, like literally, it's almost kind of like listening to an episode of Rick and Morty. They're very eccentric group. So talking about these guys, like I remember listening to them talk, and they were like cracking these jokes. I was like, they're such nerd jokes. Like, that being said, I mean, this game, look at it. Like, the art style is great. The colors are amazing. It looks hilarious. Some of the stuff the guns say is absolutely genius. Like, it looks like really cool gameplay. For me, I'm picking this up day one. And when I saw it, that it was releasing, I think October this year, I was like, yeah, I'm getting that, and I'm gonna probably play it in Game Pass. What do you guys think? Is this because it doesn't look like it'd be everyone's cup of tea, but it does look fun.
Well, Trevor Saves Universe was a lot of fun, so I'm on board for this level of weirdness as well. Plus, can't really go on with Royland. He's just out there, like out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I interestingly enough, like I'm a bit of a fan of Rick and Morty anyway. Like watching it. So yeah, I've always been amused by the fact that it's Squanch Games. Even that amuses me. I mean, the visual style is gorgeous. Do you know what I mean? It's yeah. I think there was reference to picking up an alien as a gun earlier on, that sort of idea, as well. You know, the sort of some of the stuff looks quite creepy, and the thing with Rick and Morty is that as cartoony as it is, it had quite a lot of kind of gore and horrendous looking things going on. So I'm sure that feeling will be in there as well. I'm looking forward to it for sure. And yeah, to echo the whole kind of, if Royland's involved, it's going to be amazing, basically. So
yeah, sure. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, it looks awesome. The colors look incredible. I've seen a description of it. Someone said Blade Runner meets the Muppets, which, yeah, that sounds like something I want to try out. Yeah, it looks really cool. Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by this one.
Do you know, weirdly enough, there's something about it that when I look at the environments, they remind me, some of the built-up environments remind me a little bit of the Outer Worlds, strangely enough.
Yeah, I was reminded of the Outer Worlds as well. I was, yeah. I'm glad you said it. Which leads us on to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I thought this game looked epic. I remember, Gladius, you specifically mentioning Texas Chainsaw Massacre earlier on in the show. Talk to me about how you feel about this game.
Well, first off, I'm not psychotic. You're making it sound like, oh, this is the best game in the whole thing. Yeah, I can't wait to chase people down. No, okay, I'm not a psychotic, but it's from the guys at Gun who worked on Friday the 13th and Predator Hunting Grounds. So they know a thing or two about how to translate these classic horror sci-fi movies into a viable multiplayer experience. They're really good at it. So, I mean, just being able to take somebody, and I mean like the old school Chainsaw Massacre, not whatever the hell that Netflix movie was that came out a few months ago. I'm talking about like the old school, I'm wearing your skin on my face, Leatherface. Yeah. You know, the old school style. That's the thing. They're going for the 70s style here, and it looks like it. And honestly, this just looks like it's going to be a lot of fun in certain challenges. You know, and again, not psychotic. So please do not write emails. We know I'm good, thank you. But
yeah,
I just think
chainsaws. He doesn't chainsaw people in half.
No, he's just a circus performer. That's all it is. Yeah. But no, the whole thing is, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a fun multiplayer experience. We know these classic movies translate well to that, and if you need any further proof of that, also check out a game called Evil Dead: The Game, which is a lot of fun.
Evil Dead is
yes.
I gotta play
so
that.
There you go. You should. It's amazing fun. But yeah, I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is going to live up to the hype. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot more fun than the 2600 game. I don't know what the hell happened there. I don't know. Something weird. Something weird
happened there. Anyone? What about anyone else? Like, what about you, Steve? Do you have any thoughts on this game? Is this something you want to play?
Yeah, I'm looking at the footage now. I mean, it looks incredible. Like the lighting effects, in particular, look absolutely amazing. I've not played games actually like this. I'm trying to think what I have played. I mean, no, I don't think I have. But I know these games are probably. I know that streamers love these games, aren't they? Because it's that kind of reaction-based stuff works really well. And I think, yeah, a multiplayer setting. I'd love if we, as a group, I think that might be a shout.
Oh god, yeah, but I might be duking in my pants if that happens. Like, seriously, I'm not good with horror stuff. Like, I get frightened of the Muppets. Like,
Oh,
so,
right, okay.
Anyway. No,
maybe not for you.
But they do kind of freak me out, but not terrified. I'm not scared of them.
Yeah, it looks good though. I'm impressed by it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What about you, Breeze? How are you feeling about them?
I'm excited for it. I haven't played
Yeah.
Evil Dead yet, so I'm looking forward to playing that. That's on my to-do list, to game list. I do play Dead by Daylight, so to be able to like just work together with people in that game is pretty fun. So I'm really excited to see how the dynamic is, how you'll have to work with your teammate. You know, it looks like you're going to be in like different parts of the house or whatever, and you have to find each other. You know, I'm excited for it. It looks fun. I'm going to play it in the daytime with the lights on.
Yeah, come on, play the 3 a.m. like I do. Come on.
Sure, that's how it's meant to be played. Yep.
With the volume low.
Yeah.
yeah.
But other than that, it's fun. It looks fun.
It does look fun. What about you, Venny?
I was a big fan of the original film when it came out, and I've always felt that was a quintessential horror movie. So I'm keen to see this, as it looks like it's an incredibly faithful rendition of the game, or I'm trying to think of the right word for it. Translating it into another medium, it does look incredible. What I was pleased by, particularly, was looking at character models and that they're incredibly accurate to what was in the film.
Yeah.
What also seems to be there is that sense of and it's funny, we're talking about how hot it is today, particularly in the UK. We're talking about how muggy it is. There's that sense of claustrophobic heat to the environments there as well, which I think was part of the horror aspect of the film. So I'm pleased to see that as well. So Steve-O will remember years ago when I must have been about 17 or 18. I was so overwhelmed by terror with the GameCube version of Resident Evil that I had to give it to him because I could not play it.
No, you didn't give it to me.
Resi 4?
You sold it.
I sold it.
Yeah, because I think we both got it for our Christmas presents, and I was like talking about how I'd got the effort, the courage to play through it and get through it, and I asked him, "So how are you doing?" He's like, "I sold it." I was like, "What?"
But that's the thing, is that, and I think the thing that was unusual about it is that in real life I don't tend to be particularly alarmed by things, but for some reason that game was overwhelming for me at that age. Thankfully now, with another 18 years having passed, I've got to the point where I can play scary games alone, but I probably will be playing it with the lights on. I think that's probably what will be going on. But ironically enough, the game itself is set a lot during the day, so it will still be terrifying. But one thing I've always found interesting actually about Texas Chainsaw Massacre was that, and I want to see if this is reflected in the game, is that almost sort of very subtle supernatural aspect to it. Is the grandfather alive or dead? What is really going on there, you know? Yeah. So I'm definitely keen to give it a go.
Yeah, I've got to say, unless I'm playing with someone, it's definitely not a game I'm going to be playing on my own. And that's not because I'm not brave enough to do it. I definitely am, but I feel like there'll be other games. I feel like I would get more from it by playing it multiplayer. But yeah. Anyway, so just coming up on screen now, we've got Pentiment that we're going to go and talk about, which is on a sort of lighter note. This is the game by Obsidian, the Josh Sawyer game. It looks pretty cool. I really like the art style. I think it's quite unique. It did sort of throw me off at first. I didn't expect it to that art style, but it's very heavy on narrative. There's no combat in it at all. It's basically it's a complete narrative experience. Who's playing this? Who's picking this up?
I am going to be, because Josh Sawyer. Funnily enough, I am mentioning Josh Sawyer in the New Vegas mods article because Josh Sawyer not only was obviously involved in the development of New Vegas, but he actually put together a mod for the game after it was released as well, so was involved with that community. So he is an incredibly passionate person when it comes to the games that he's involved with. And in terms of game balance and what he'll be bringing to this project, I think it's going to be incredible. I was interested to see some of the developers talking about the time passing in the game and the characters changing, growing up, getting married, how there was an emotional impact there. I think the art style was very fresh. I like the idea that, again, it's touching on social changes in the 16th century that could translate to things today in terms of societal change, because that's always happening. That was another comment from that I saw from the devs when they were talking about the game. So I'm keen for it on a number of different levels, I would say. I think it's going to be a very fresh experience and high quality, because anything, in my view, Obsidian are one of the top tier developers out there for narrative content, role-playing content, any sort of content like that with that sort of slant to it. So very, very excited.
Yeah, you're
also,
right.
Can we talk about how original this game is? I mean, at a time in which, everybody's trying to be a copycat, trying to do like certain things with their role-playing games or certain things with their action games, everything like that, this just stands out so much. I mean, the art style alone, it looks like something out of, if whoever did the artwork on the dollar bill decided, hey, I'm going to design an RPG. There it is. And they drew up everything. I mean, it's pretty insane. It's got that old school Victorian style art to it, if you will.
Yeah, well,
Game Pass, isn't it? It's like allows for these types of games, gives them that security to launch and actually, garner an audience, and be successful. Yeah, I think they proved that with Grounded. Like Game Pass really sort of allowed for that game to.
I mean, they're proving it with Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles comes out and everybody can't stop playing it. It's like, oh, Ninja Turtles.
I do think, with the art style, as you mentioned there, Galadrius, I think it's 16th century tapestry style.
Yeah, that's why I kind of take back what I said about the dollar bill. I'm sorry.
No, but you're right in the sense, you are correct in the sense that it's sort of got that flat style to it, that sort of old timey. I do think it's almost in the style of when you would get those big tapestries or those big pieces of art, or you would get those really sort of resplendent books that would be written with incredible sort of text or fonts in it, and the sort of long sagas being told in the 2D sort of style.
Yeah, there's a medieval look to it, certainly. Like very, 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 very dated. It's like faded colors. It's like stuff like that. It's great. It's like you said, it's unique. Gladrius, it's great.
Yeah, and also on top of that, let's be honest here. Have we ever expected anything like this from Obsidian? I mean, they do great role-playing stuff, but their last game was what? The Outer Worlds, and they're already working on the Outer Worlds 2. And then there's this, and be like, wow, I did not see this coming. Right?
No, I mean, I didn't know what to expect when I heard. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, Breeze, you told me that it was going to be like a 16th century mystery game.
I didn't know about it till this week.
I did.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Okay, but never mind my comment. I that was what drew me to it. I really didn't know what the art style would look like, and it looks cool. Like you guys said, everything exactly what I'm thinking about it, and I really appreciate how smooth it runs based off of the art style. But being able to solve mysteries, being able to see how the time progresses and see those characters grow, it looks fun. It looks fun. I'm going to play as day one on Game Pass. Day one. All these is day
Absolutely.
one. And I'm playing all of them.
Actually, you know what? And it's going back to what you said, Gladius, quickly about Obsidian. I mean, they have got to be probably one of the buys of all the studios that Microsoft picked up. Like, Obsidian have probably going to be the one that sort of proved its worth the most. I mean, maybe aside from Playground as well.
I mean, they're making some great choices in terms of studio. I mean, obviously, there's a bigger ballyhoo about, oh, we got Activision Blizzard, oh, we got Bethesda, but I think we're forgetting about these smaller acquisitions that are really adding up for them as well. That's something to keep in mind.
There's an element, and I am certain that Josh Sawyer must have read Cadfael, the old Cadfael books, medieval crime series. I do think as well that one of his influences was Darklands, which was a DOS game by Microprose. That was the Holy Roman Empire in the 15th century. So I think a very similar kind of structure and historical period as well. So I can sort of see what the influences would have been, but to have a narrative, this kind of story elements of the Cadfael series mixed with that Darklands style game with the wonderful art style on modern technology is going to be amazing. And yeah, I totally agree with Obsidian being a steal. I think Microsoft has made some very, very good purchases.
Yeah, I mean, between that and Ninja Theory, like Ninja Theory is working on some great stuff too. But God, Obsidian, like coming out of nowhere with this, because I would have been happy with just Outer Worlds 2 announcement, like gameplay or whatever. But this was nice.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Steve? Have you chipped in? What's your 2 cents, 10 cents, whatever?
Yeah, not much.
2 pence.
Yeah.
What's your 1 pence?
It's probably about
What's
that.
your 18 cents?
It's probably about that. Yeah, no, it certainly looks really interesting. I haven't played really anything like this, so I'm kind of curious to see if I'd like it. And yeah, I mean, so it's that sort of thing where the art style initially, I must admit, it wasn't like drawing me in. The other games I've seen, the art style is really wow. Okay, I want to play that. But I think this is maybe the thing about this game, that it's different, and that's maybe something I should actually try out, because that's actually one of its strengths. And hearing you guys talking about these Obsidian kind of narrative like strengths, yeah, I'm kind of actually thinking I should really also add this to the list of games that I need to play. This very long list.
Yeah, I mean, when I sort of was hearing about Pentiment, it seemed to me like it reminded me of this game I played called Detective D, The Silk Rose Murders, and that was like
you reviewed that, didn't you?
But, yeah, I reviewed it. Yeah, it was the first game I ever reviewed for Gamerhub, I think. And it was really, really, honestly, it was great. It was only about an hour and a half long, and it was fantastic. Like the storyline was so good, and you really had to, like, you'd look at it, and like someone would think, oh, it's a children's game, really, but it is not. Like, it was difficult. That's the only thing about reviewing it. I was like, oh, the puzzles. I was like, oh god, I've got to make sure they're done. I've got to do this right for. So that I'm reviewing the reviews going out on time. But yeah, no, it was absolutely brilliant. Like, and some of it, and it was quite difficult. It was like heavy narrative. It's point and click. There was no combat at all. But it was great, and I loved it. And like it changed something for me. I used to like have to have a tiny bit of action or something in my games, but I don't have that now. I don't need it. I can, if the narrative's good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway. So, has anyone got any more thoughts on Pentiment before we move on?
Can't wait.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny you talk about narrative, because this next game has some good narrative as well.
Absolutely. The next narrative.
Look what I did there.
Yeah. As Dusk Falls. Yeah, nice segue. There. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we touched on this earlier in the show. Like, I watched this trailer and I was suddenly up for it. Like, I was like, I've got to play this game. I went back, played today, and I played The Walking Dead, annoyingly, season 3, episode 1, like the Telltale game, and had an absolute great time playing that. So, yeah, what are you guys thinking about this? Who wants this?
Well, I'll tell you this. It's definitely got this Telltale style of storytelling to it. It sounds like you'd be able to make decisions on where it goes with the characters and everything. I think the one thing I'm having trouble getting over is the art style. Like they tried to make the character models realistic, but instead of animated smoothly, they just like do a jump cut thing, which is kind of an interesting choice. We haven't really seen that in where it looks hyper realistic. Like you can actually, this character looks like somebody I'd meet in real life and everything like that. But when they're talking or anything like that, it's not just all one smooth like motion capture thing. It's like a jump style art animation.
It's kind of like as if a video's frozen, but you're still hearing the sound, doesn't it?
But it's also got like a little bit of a Western motif to it, because you saw like the sheriff that was involved with that, and it's like got the small town vibe to it. So I think it's got some potential to be a really good story. It just depends like how it all unfolds, because we've seen this before with like movies that promise to be these intriguing mysteries or whatever. Oh, it's his sister. Well, the end. We don't need that. We need a good, intriguing mystery.
I think it sounds like it's kind of a narrative, kind of indie movie feel to it. I think it could be quite. If it's very character focused and they nail the sort of the characters and the conversations, I think it could be something, and you'd probably eventually get over this kind of very strange sort of art style animation, if you can call it that. It's kind of animation.
It's an indie studio, so I understand they don't have like motion capture like say Naughty Dog would. So I understand going for something a little more affordable and unique. I'm not gonna trash the studio on this. It's a good choice. You know, it's just something you don't expect when you play like a game. You expect a character like kind of transition. This way, it's kind of like a motion comic.
It kind of reminds me of a comic. Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Comic is the exact word. I have to say though, I really like they seem to have emphasized the whole choice and consequence thing, which is, I love that mechanic. I love it in my RPGs, and I think it's what I really like about these games. These are interactive movies, if you like, or TV shows, or whatever they are, interactive comic book. Like, I think it's great. You really feel like all your decisions are like gives you on the Telltale one, like the Walking Dead, it's giving you this timer down the bottom. I'm like, I need longer to make this decision. And I think it's something that should be used. I'd like to see in a few more games. Like, people would brag about like, oh, your decisions really matter. But I'll give you Skyrim, for example. Your decisions didn't really matter that much.
Well, again, that's why Obsidian, going back to them, that's why I always loved what they've put out, because the decisions matter to the game world. That being said, talk about this specifically. The art style reminds me of a Scanner Darkly, that sort of rotoscope style. Where that was the film with Keanu Reeves, whereas obviously that was fully animated. This is obviously it's less so. So it's almost like a mixture of that and the comic book style that was mentioned. I do think for the type of game that it is, that there's been a lot of games like this that have come out on iOS, for instance, or Android. You've had these sort of storybook games. The names of them escape me right now, but they've been out.
Netflix have a similar game as well.
Netflix? What was that?
Like Stranger Things 3, that was more of an isometric sort of thing.
Right.
No. I'm not thinking of Stranger Things. I'm thinking of they had like an interactive movie.
Yes.
Oh.
Was that Black Mirror? Or was
Black Mirror did it, but that was the first. I think they've done. I can't remember if they've done more.
They've done a couple since then, because it's not Black Mirror either. I can't remember what it's called, but in basically in it you use the TV remote and you click and make decisions for.
I can't say I enjoyed the Black Mirror one. I didn't really like that. I didn't find it.
I didn't play it. I didn't watch it. Sorry. I just heard of it. Anyway, what about you, Breeze? What are you saying?
I'll say I'm not really into Telltale games. I do like games that you do make decisions on them. But the art style, I am not into the frame by frame movement. Even though, I think I'm going to play it. Let me not say I'm not. I'm going to play it. I just don't have the want to play it, I guess, because of the art style. But I know the decisions that are going to be made are going to be, like, it's going to be good. I don't know if anyone's played The Long Dark or Firewatch, but, based off of the decisions that you make.
I absolutely hated Firewatch.
You're just mad because you couldn't shoot nobody.
But the decisions you make, I appreciate it. It reminds me of those decisions. So I'll play it. I'm not too fond of the art style. I do prefer movement. I do prefer, me putting myself in the position or in the roles. Just like Firewatch, I was the guy who, who became the park ranger. and you get addicted to that role. So for me to just watch this like this, but I'll play it still. I look forward to it.
Hey, real quick, is somebody asleep?
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was
I
like,
thought
what's
I heard
that?
that as well. Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing it's none of us who have just spoken. Benny?
I don't know. It's so weird.
Is he just
Anyway, we can edit
KO'd?
that out. We can do
No,
it.
I was just teasing you. I'm definitely.
Oh, yeah. I was just wondering. I was like, Breeze, are you okay? All right.
Right. Okay. Has anyone
Banged
not
my
spoken
knee.
to this?
Anyone? Any final words? No, I'm good.
No? Okay. All right. Okay. I think then time to move on to a game which I know we're all excited for.
Yeah.
Slime Rancher 2. Who wants to talk this game up?
Oh, yeah. I want to play this because I really enjoyed the first. I mean, how often do we play a first-person shooter that involves strategy? Like the last one I could really think of was Portal 2. So, I mean, this is kind of a neat concept. It looks like a lot of fun for the kids. There's a lot more slimes. It's a much bigger world, and it's adorable. These things are adorable. We all want, like, puffy slimes in our house. Let's admit it. Maybe, playpen or something. But still, these things are adorable. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this when it drops this fall, for sure.
Yeah, it's certainly, like I say again, another very visually pleasing game. Like there's lots of nice bright colors and like the visuals really pop at you. I think it's like one of those games where like HDR in the game is going to really shine. I mean, Breeze, come on, you were talking to me about Slime Rancher. Right, we had a conversation. I was telling you about my mate who was like, "Oh, you can't play that." Tell me why you should. Tell me why people should be picking this game up. Breeze?
I didn't want you to ask me a question because
She's trying to make
She's like enchanted by the video. She's like, "I'll just watch the video."
No, I was trying to talk to you in the message. That's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. The snoring's not really that.
Fair enough. I get it. That makes sense.
If anything, we could say it's mopish listening to us. It's your response.
I'm excited for it because I played the first Slime Rancher and I finished it actually earlier this year. And
just see the message.
You're just now seeing it. Wow. Attentive lawyer.
I'm sorry. I'm listening to you guys. You guys are very interesting. So
right.
Compliment.
Yeah, it was right on time. Then you asked. I said, "Okay, don't ask me." So Breeze, he asked.
What did I just say to you?
Oh, brilliant.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
If you need to go,
No, I don't have to go. No, I was just saying, don't ask me any more questions. Because it was picking up in the mic.
But what you should say, Breeze, is, Joe, please ask me questions all the time, and then he'll do the opposite, basically. So
that's
the best.
True. I do like doing that to people. Yeah.
Right. Okay, but I'm excited for it. It's gonna be fun. I've waited so long for Slime Rancher 2 to even come out. The story was cool. I wonder if in number 2 you actually find Grandpa. If you haven't played it, I don't want to spoil it for you, but should have played it by now. You should have played it by now. But I know that there is so many secrets, and I appreciate that game because there are secrets. There are secret places on the map that you can just explore, and you can find all types of different slimes, and you have to figure out how to feed all the different types of slimes to pop one or to collect one, and you have to bring them back to your ranch in order to and build a habitat for them so they can I would say give you plorts. You feed them and they give you plorts, and you use those plorts to trade them on the plort market. So if they keep all that same dynamic, all of that, I'm going to look forward to that because I want to see what new slimes they come up with, what new slimes that I can, combine together, and just what new secrets can I find on all the different maps and portals. And I'm just waiting to see what new advancements that game has made.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see, certainly. Well, what about you, Benny? Are you going to be playing this?
Yeah, I was intrigued by it because I never played the original, and I wasn't really that aware of it, to be honest. But from watching the footage, I was thinking, this actually looks quite interesting. A bit of a world to explore, secrets to find. As Breeze was saying there, you can kind of comb the environment, find more secrets, different varieties of slime. And I think it's got this quite... It's quite an endearing style by the looks of it as well. There's something almost Nintendo-ish about it, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else. Does that kind of Nintendo feel? I mean, there's almost a sort of Wind Waker style to it, that sort of cel-shaded look.
There is, yeah. I love Wind Waker as well. It's by far the best.
Yeah.
I said it.
So, and I think there was slimes in Wind Waker as well. So, yeah.
I'm thinking of Dragon Quest.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. Actually, well, I think probably more prominent in that rather than Wind Waker. But yeah, it does look. Yeah, it's something that would not have been on. That's why these showcases are very good for folk like myself, because there's games that will appear that would be outside of my normal radar or outside of what I would normally be looking at, and it sort of encourages me to pick them up. So there you go. I'm quite looking forward to it, I have to say.
Yeah, I am too, and I think I'm going to go and play the first one first before this comes out.
You should.
Just because I feel like I don't know, I kind of feel like I should, basically.
Yeah, I'm the same. I haven't played it, so that's pretty much my thought. I need to go and play the first one. I'm bad for that, where I don't jump into a sequel if I haven't played the first one. So I either miss them because it gets too overwhelming if I've missed a few, but then or I give myself a task when I have to try and complete the first one, even if someone's told me the first one isn't as good or something. It's just weird for that. But yeah, it does look really good, like visually stunning. Wow.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I'm looking at it, I keep saying it, I'm like, yeah, that's good. Okay, so we don't really have an awful lot left to talk about. One of them we do is, everyone has spoken on that, sorry, just to clarify.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so we're moving on to Forza Horizon 5, Hot Wheels DLC.
Wait. Sorry.
Hot Wheels makes its return to the Forza Horizon DLC. Let's be fair, it was by far the most popular Forza Horizon game, Forza Horizon 3, and it was also by far the most popular DLC, was the Hot Wheels one. So, who likes this? Who wants to play this again? Or are you guys, because I don't know how many of you like enjoy the races. I know that I do, but
I mean, did I not just say, oh boy, like 9 times? I really want to play this. I mean, I love the Forza universe. And, on top of the Hot Wheels thing, it looks like we're also getting some snowy weather as well, which means they're bringing back their other expansion from Forza Horizon 4, where it was like a winter wonderland sort of thing. So it looks like a combination of the two coming to 5, which is going to be really nice. And on top of that, Hot Wheels didn't really need to do this. They have their own racing game that's doing really well right now, but the fact that they're contributing to Forza is pretty amazing, so yeah, I'm looking forward to racing around on a roof and defying physics like I always do in games.
Yeah, nice, yeah. Well, actually, considering it's not, I mean, you wouldn't want defying physics in a sim race there, but obviously the beauty of Forza Horizon is that it's far more arcadey. But you can still get a little bit of that sim feeling from it if you want to. Yeah. Who else has anything to say on this? Forza Horizon, Electro Vinny.
My first real awareness of Forza was when they had the Edinburgh game. I can't remember which one that was, but you were driving all around.
Forza Horizon 4.
The fourth one. And I never played it, but I found myself watching lots of videos about it, just in fascination at the fact you could go around an area that I was very familiar with photorealistically, and that people all around the world were playing, were having massive, insane chases all around what to me is quite a local area. But yeah, in terms of the madcap style of Hot Wheels, it does look great. I'm not a big racing guy. Like I would play Mario Kart, things like that, sort of mess around, but I've never been one to play more realistic racing games. So I don't know. I've got to be honest. I don't know whether I would play it. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that I'm not really. I wouldn't
You're
sit.
not a racer.
No.
You're not a racer. That's fine. Yeah. I mean, what about Steve? Steve-O, how are you doing with that? Do you feel?
Yeah, it's again similar to Venny. I've dabbled in these games, but I am definitely more because I know these are more of like they're not sims, but they're also not really arcadey enough for me. Like I do prefer the racing games of yore, sort of on the N64 kind of arcadey kind of sort of so unrealistic or futuristic racing games as well, like the F-Zero series.
Well, actually, it's interesting you mentioned F-Zero. So because I think that it has a very anti-gravity feel, Hot Wheels. Like,
so maybe I missed that then.
Like, if you look at it on the tracks, like sorry,
yeah, well, I can
yeah,
see actually what you mean. I suppose this particular update actually does look like maybe something I would like. So that might actually get me involved because I haven't kept up with these games. Even though I can see visually they look stunning, and I hear mechanically they're fantastic, and a lot of the fans prefer probably them maybe sometimes over even the main motorsport series. But so yeah, it's not a series just with the amount of games that I try and keep up with. This is a series that I haven't, but yeah, that is definitely like from the F-Zero angle, you might actually have converted me. I can see that now. It actually does look quite something I would like to play.
Yeah, actually, there's another game you should consider potentially playing. It's coming out soon. It's Flash Out 3.
Oh yes.
That game looks pretty cool, and it's like I think it's coming to all platforms. So Switch, PlayStation, Xbox.
Are you talking about Red Out? Or no?
Flash Out.
Because I know Red Out 2 is out today. I didn't know about Flash Out 3. Wow, this actually looks real nice.
Yeah, so so Flash Out 3. Well, actually, because I did want to speak to you a bit more, Gladrius, on this. So obviously you're very excited for this update. You want to play it. You're Forza Horizon, Forza Horizon guy. I mean, which would you say that Forza Horizon 5 is better than 3? Which one was your favorite?
See, I played a lot of Gran Turismo 7. I played a lot of Forza Horizon 5. And I think the thing that's adaptable about Horizon 5 is it's not really demanding. Like Gran Turismo 7, you have to have some sort of expertise. It's fun to play, but the more you know about racing, the better a good time you'll have.
It's a sim racer, that.
Right, it's more like that. Right, Forza Horizon 5 is more...
to Forza Motorsport, isn't it?
Now, Forza Horizon 5 is kind of a sim, but it goes with an arcade-style approach. Like, anybody can pick up and play it. You don't have to worry about, what happens if my engine goes bad or whatever. No, you just race. That sort of deal. You don't have to worry about the realism of it because, as we saw from the Hot Wheels loop-to-loop, I think realism went out the window, but it's still an amazing racing game. I mean, something like this, I think when you kind of take away, there are people who live for technical details in a racing game, and Gran Turismo 7 is easily a good game for them. But there are people who also live just merely for the thrill of racing. Forza captures that. Dirt 5 captures that. Grid Legends captures that. So, what I know people might prefer some sims out there, but a lot of us, we like the arcade-style racer, and I think that's where Forza's the king. And will motorsport kind of lean back toward the sim? Sure, but it'll also be adaptable for people to get into. So.
Well, they're double. Actually, I kind of want to touch on this because we didn't Forza. I actually expected to see more Forza Motorsport. Although, actually, I remember seeing a tweet earlier on today saying that they were going to show something more. But anyway, so Forza Motorsport that they've it's like 42 times the amount of physics. Like I can't remember. I made a load of notes on it, but they've really doubled down on like the sim elements of it. So you're gonna have way more. There's gonna be track more. Track more things. So
right.
More rubber down on the circuit, you'll be able to put faster times down. There'll be the track temperature will change with the time of day, because obviously there's going to be dynamic weather systems. There's far more So the tire pressures and everything like that will all matter now and everything.
I
like
mean,
that.
there's a lot in there, right? But here's the thing: like Polyphony Digital, they live for details. They live, like what's his name, Kazunori, the guy who's in charge of that studio. Kazunori, name escapes me. He believes in technical details. He has a huge garage. He believes in this whole, cars have to be treated like religion, and they have to handle this, and they had, and he gets the handling down. But it's such a technical nature, whereas Forza Motorsport, they're introducing all these technical features, but it's still about how well you drive. That's the thing that's really neat about Turn 10 Studios. They can capture the technical details without the game itself being overly technical, which is a pretty neat trick, if you ask me. They continue to keep the thrill of the racing as the focus, even though it's more realistic than ever before. I mean, they're amazing at that. Obviously, it's a different league than Forza Horizon 5, but it's still a lot of fun. And I think we're going to, as we see more of motorsport in the months ahead, we'll see exactly what's roaring under the hood, if you will. But at least that's my perspective. Maybe I'm not like the super technical. Oh, did you know the Porsche 911 could go 200 miles an hour in 9.9? No, I didn't really check that. I was driving, so no, I did not check that. But you get my point. I mean, people who enjoy the sort of racer, I think will truly enjoy it. That's it.
Yeah. I think you're right. I'm into my sim racing. I'm personally extremely excited to see what the new Forza does. I think it's like going to be our first next gen racer. Anyway, moving on. So we're going on to Fall Guys, yeah. So it's not the sort of, it's a sort of game you play if you're drinking a few beers with your mates or something. It's not really my bag, this game. So and also I kind of feel like the hype for it has died. Like, and it's been and gone. It's coming to Xbox quite late. So
I would say my comment on this is that's quite cool. The Master Chief's there, and that's it's funny.
Yeah. His name is Chubby Chief. Thank you very much.
Yep, Chubby Chief has entered the fray to fall off the side of things over and over again. I mean, I have zero bad feeling towards it. I am, I just don't really. I guess I don't really have too much to say about it, but it's quite funny looking at the picture. Like I've seen a few pictures of the character. So I've seen that. I did think it was quite funny. Fall Guys, I do agree with you, Joe, in the sense that Fall Guys, it was sort of a bit of a streaming thing for a while. People would there'd be clips of it on YouTube. I used to find it quite funny to watch them, but I never played it, and I don't think it's something that, I think most of the people who would have played it probably already have, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly,
so,
yeah. The only people who this is for now is the people who just don't have any other systems, like, so, yeah, it's, like I say, I think the moment sort of passed there, I think...
Don't say that. Don't say that, because I mean, even though its hype kind of went away with its PS4 debut, there are still going to be a ton of people who jump into this. They want to take part in a multiplayer experience that isn't about a skill set or anything like that. It's about just completing games the best you can. So there are people who are still going to love this, I think.
Yeah, there will be. Yeah, I'm just talking about from a personal level. So, it's not apart from the fact that I probably wouldn't play it apart from in certain circumstances, like rarer circumstances nowadays as well. It's just it's not really one for me. It's also like it's not that I've played it already, like, and it's not something I'm excited for now because I get to play it on Xbox too. But yeah, I mean, who else? Does anyone else feel differently on this?
I think there's certain excitement with its multiplayer, and you're talking about a guy who loves game shows. Like, I have every episode of Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. By the way, I recommend it if you haven't checked it out yet. It's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I love madcap games like these. So, I'm down to play it again. Why not?
Nice. What about you, Steve-O?
It's similar to yourself, to be honest. I have played it, and it was really fun for that sort of setting, and with my friends, like local couch. I was online. We were trading the controllers, but
I love the idea of the local couch. That's such a cool idea. It's sort of the way of describing the people that would come around to play a multiplayer game, basically.
And then we played a game online, so there wasn't a local multiplayer on that game in particular.
The remote couch.
Yeah, but yeah, it was fun, and like you guys said, no ill will towards it. It looks, cute and funny and adorable that they've got him in it, but I'm unlikely to actually play it.
Yeah, fair enough. Venny, you've spoken on this already.
I think Chubby Chief looks quite funny. Just again for the record, that's my assessment. Yeah, but I think what you were going to mention, Minecraft Legends, was it?
I think that's the next one after this, I believe.
Yeah. Because you had said sort of Mojang taking the piss sort of thing. I have to say, I was not involved, but I was around for Minecraft. When it was entering the end of the beta period into when it was released. There's probably I remember going to the States and walking around with a Minecraft t-shirt, and there was a little girl come up to me and said, "Do you like Minecraft?" And she's probably like 18 now or 20. Do you know what I mean? She was a wee kid at the time. So I was, my niece and my nieces in particular love Minecraft, and I was saying to them, I was playing this before you were born, But it is one of those things where, for me, I feel that the magic of Minecraft diminished the more they've added, and I do remember, particularly in 2011, sitting and playing, or even 2010. I think it might have been the sort of early release of Minecraft, and being overcome by a sense of wonder with this solitary world that was created for me to enjoy, that nobody else was experiencing, this infinite realm, and the mystery of it. There was some additions that were good, like they brought in the villagers and the villages and things like that. Some of the things you could come across, sand temples and things like that. But as it went on, it just became, the mystery started to disappear.
Yeah, I think you're right. All these texture packs and stuff like that, it's just like, oh my god, it's
yeah.
Not, I mean, I guess we're not their audience for that though. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, it's almost like
you can still get that experience for playing Minecraft if you just want to play.
You can, yeah. I mean, I do think that if you want to play it the way that you can go back to I can go back to the build that I enjoyed and play that build. That being said, I do think that what they're aiming for is the sort of your sort of Roblox kids crowd, because there's a lot of kids that play Minecraft and Roblox and these sorts of things, and that's their go-to. And I do think those young kids will love this sort of thing. Yeah. Minecraft Legends, I've never been into the side games, these sorts of things. I just have no interest in that. I don't have anything against it in the sense that, there are people who will enjoy these, especially young kids, and, more power to them, because to them, that will be their version of us playing Mario on the SNES and things like that. That will be their when they grow up, they'll be nostalgic for this sort of thing. Yeah. And that's fine. It's just, I tend to ignore it, because the more I see, the less I can hold on to my almost mythical memories of Minecraft. So I tend to kind of ignore it. So I'm not even looking at anything of it. I mean, my eyes are away from the screen. I'm not really taking it in.
Yeah, Minecraft, they pissed me off no end so badly. Sorry, we'll get to you just a second. Glad
oh no, I know, and I'm just saying, I'm agreeing. So go ahead.
Yeah, they've annoyed me no end with just endless broken promises of updates that I want, and then they go and just releasing other games. It's like, oh my god, can you just do something that you said you're going to do for a change? Like, I'm actually protesting. I haven't played Minecraft since they announced that ray tracing update for the Xbox Series consoles, and obviously it should probably come to PS5 as well, because I'm sure it could probably do it. And they just haven't brought it, and it's just I will not play it again. I will not. It's gone on too long now, and I really want to, because I miss Minecraft and the stuff I want to play, but I just can't do it. I cannot do it to myself, and it makes me not want to play this Minecraft Legends. And go on, sorry, Gladius, take it away.
No, you're fine. I wasn't trying to cut you off. The thing is, I think those that really love Minecraft are still sticking with it, and those that, don't understand what it's about kind of fell off. And I think, Mojang's trying to create those experiences to try to bring them back. Their skins, Minecraft Dungeons, which I enjoy a lot more because it's more of a hack and slasher. But I don't know. I mean, here I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, I kind of wore off of Minecraft years ago because to me, it's like how many weird ass looking trees can I cut down before this game gets entertaining? I lost interest. So I don't know if this game's going to bring me back, but I'm interested in seeing more of it in action.
Yeah. Anyone else feel anything about this?
I want to hear Breeze say something.
I'm back here laughing.
I know you're going to say something about Minecraft anyway, so Mopish will go to sleep and you can say what you want to say.
Just that was that part about how many different trees do I have to cut down.
Seriously, I mean, like how many? I'm like, okay, you need 13 wood. Well, shit.
13
that's a lot of trees.
Dark oak wood and acacia wood.
I know, right? Oh, I got the wrong type of wood. Oh man, I got to start over.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
I have nothing to say. That just cracks me up.
So, I think it's Steve-O, just you. What do you feel about this game?
Yeah, like I've only played it Minecraft in very fleeting moments. My niece has shown me it. My brother plays it a lot, and he's played it with Venny. But yeah, and my niece has tried to get me into it. I'm not a PC gamer. It was on PC that they were playing it, and I can marvel at it and look at all this stuff that people have done. I just don't have it's just not my kind of game. The sort of crafting and the patience to do that sort of thing, just with no real obvious direction. You kind of have to do it yourself. It's just not for me. So yeah, I've missed out on the whole thing, and I can look at it and admire it from afar. Like a lot of the games I've talked about today, it seems to be a recurring theme. It sounds like I don't play games, but I generally do, honestly. But yeah, it's a cool thing. But I don't have the same affection that a lot of people do for it, and I suspect it's for a new audience. But I'm still probably not going to jump in on it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean, actually, just quickly on Minecraft though. I mean, if you don't want to have to do that whole grindy thing with the crafting, you can play in creative mode.
Yeah, there's the story mode. There's story mode stuff as well now, isn't there? Like actually objective and stuff like that, isn't there? Now, or is that just a specific version of the game?
There's so me and my friend played it and I've played a lot of Minecraft and in creative mode and in survival mode, and completing the Ender Dragon and then respawning the Ender Dragon and all of that. And I have to say, but the most fun we had was going around looking for treasure in the underwater temples and stuff like that, and then also getting elytras and then just creating massive towers that we can glide across to different parts of the map. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it does sound great. Actually, if you say it like that, it sounds incredible.
Yeah, it's one of those games. It's like you put you into a world, and if you know there's a lot you can do in it, and if you know what's fun in it, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is what it is. I think. After I think that was everything after Minecraft Legends. I think it went into FanFest stuff. So
Stalker 2.
Yeah, we talked.
Let me
of
fast
course,
Stalker 2
the Stalker 2 stuff. Yes, I didn't expect them to show at all. I know that obviously they've got Microsoft has the exclusivity for a few months on Stalker 2. That game, when I saw it the gameplay last showcase. I think they might have opened with it last year in 2021, and I was blown away. This looked epic. Seriously, that gameplay looks so good. And I know obviously they're very much talking about it wasn't they showed us the first opening bit of the game, but it wasn't sort of like the gameplay trailer that they showed. It looked so cool. It was dark. It was gritty. It was everything I wanted in a game like that, and really reminded me of Metro.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, I mean, you guys tell me you're excited for this game. I can't handle it if someone's not excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, I am excited, and interestingly enough, I got a hold of all of the Metro series to replay. As part of my again, 200 to 300 games that I've got sitting on an external hard drive. Basically, I've got a huge amount of games.
You've got a Game Pass to yourself.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I went through. I mentioned the Humble Bundle. I've always been getting games through that. I've been buying games on GOG when there was deals on. So I've ended up with just an enormous amount of DRM free games to install. There's games that I've got on Steam ready to install. The Metro series, yep. That's certainly one of them there. There is, what else was I looking at that kind of reminded me of this? There was the I think was it Stalker? Am I getting? You have to tell me if I'm getting this wrong. Was it Shadow of Chernobyl and Clear Sky, or am I getting that mixed up with something else?
Stalker 2, I think it's Heart of Chernobyl.
Right. Okay, yeah. So I need to sort of look at those again as well. But yeah, I'm excited for it for sure. It's something that is definitely right up my alley. So this is Heart of Chernobyl now, isn't it?
Yeah, Heart of Chernobyl. Yeah.
Yeah, but certainly I can see the Metro sort of connection there for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I was interested as well actually was, I mean, obviously that we're not going to go massively into this, but I was intrigued to look at a dev diary because they're developing this game in the midst of the Ukraine war right now, which is astonishing. So obviously we can make a slight sort of, I suppose, what we can allow ourselves to kind of just give them a little nod to that.
Massive shout out to them. I can't, politics aside, it's terrible, the loss of human life here, and like what these guys are going through is, I can't believe that there's such strength of character for them to all be back at work on this game again now. Absolutely mental.
And it's literally a labour of love, isn't it, to be doing that?
It is, yeah.
Not to mention the fact, like, some of the developers actually went on to become soldiers.
Yeah.
You saw the video about that. I mean, absolute respect for those guys. Just absolute. I mean, not only are they going through hell, but they're fighting back against hell while making a game where you're trying to survive like hell. And holy hell.
Well, that's it. I mean, you look at it, and you think to yourself, right? I've got nothing to complain about here. My workload isn't that bad. I mean,
I gotta play Turtles.
Yeah. These guys are coming back from the front line and then doing some more dev work. It's astonishing.
Yeah, they were seeing them talking about how they had to try and come up with quests where people are doing awful things and things like that. When they've in the background they've got these kind of stuff going on, like that's full strength to them. They're amazing.
I do think it's going to. I think my feeling is that the game itself is going to be probably one of the most intense experiences when it comes to those sorts of things for a gamer, because a lot of what they've actually experienced will be poured into this game. And I think not that a war is required to make a game, or that you would want that to happen, but I think they're taking the experiences they've had and trying to sort of, it's almost like the silver lining theory. They're trying to kind of take the best from the most awful circumstances and pour it into something that other people can experience. And I think that's going to be incredible for all of us. And I think it will be something. I think there will be for those of us who have high empathy. I think playing the game might be. It's going to be an emotional experience, I think, as well, to play the game, given those circumstances, for sure.
Yeah. Honestly, when I watched the trailer, I was so, the Xbox Bethesda Showcase Extended, and like they showed that sort of video diary of their experiences and stuff. I was so moved by it. I reached out to their community manager, and I just said, look, if there's anything we can do, and I'm sent with us all on behalf of all of us, sent thoughts and prayers to those guys, and just we admire everything they're doing, like they're fighting for their country and to their freedom potentially, and and developing this game. Like,
yeah, and also let's just talk about this. Let's talk about one more thing here. This game has technically been around since 2010. It's the newest, like Duke Nukem Forever, like literally going through development hell trying to get made. You know, it was originally supposed to come out in 2012. Then it was supposed to come out in 2018. Then finally it was supposed to come out in like what was it? Like April 2022 before they had to delay it and everything like that. So it has literally gone through cycle after cycle, and it's going to be one of those projects between the devotion of the development team and all this effort that's going into building it up. It's going to be huge, and hopefully it'll give the developers the love that they deserve. Because oh man, GSC Game World's been destroying themselves literally to make this game. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you should.
I think it'll be worth the wait.
I think, isn't it coming to Game Pass on day one?
Yep, day one.
Oh man, that's so good.
We would just say, hey, everybody, go get Game Pass. Look, if you're new to Game Pass, you get 3 months for $1. Go get Game Pass.
Have they said when it comes to Game Pass?
There's some sort of sign-up thing.
They said 2023 when it comes.
Right, okay.
2023.
Yeah. They haven't given a date yet. It's right at the end of this year.
But they said within the next 12 months. So hopefully by spring. We'll see.
Yeah. If you think about it, they obviously they delayed it to December, and then the war broke out.
Yeah.
February was it?
Yeah.
And so that was earlier in the year, in January, that happened. And
yeah. There's no. I don't think anyone's going to harangue them for it. I think whatever it takes to
I got full respect for those guys. They're busting their. I mean, like there are other developers too that are working their butts off in Ukraine in the middle of all this. So absolute respect for those guys. Full salute.
Yep.
I just want to say, overall, Microsoft Showcase was pretty damn awesome. There were some things missing. There was no GoldenEye. There were no Outer Worlds 2. There were no, a couple of things, no Perfect Dark, nothing like that. But we made up, no Sinuous Sacrifice, which I was really surprised by. But we got a lot of other announcements, all of them coming within the next 12 months. We got a first glimpse of Starfield. We got these surprise little things coming up, like Pentiment, all these different games that are coming, and I am super excited. I'm super excited.
Yeah, me too. What about you, Steve? How you feel? What was your overall sort of feelings on the two showcases?
Yeah, it's similar. A lot of great stuff. There's a lot of things that I am now looking forward to in the next year or two. There's a lot of things I need to play to get up to speed on some of that stuff, but yeah, it's looking good. I think there's Game Pass especially is looking like a real, it's kind of crazy to not have it now. It seems like the value proposition is insane, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I'm happy about. Obviously, from the retro gamer that I am side of it, I'm gutted GoldenEye still hasn't been announced yet.
Give it time, and I'm sure it'll come this fall.
I know. There was rumors that it was maybe, it was maybe delayed because of the war in Ukraine, and maybe they still feel that's something that might stop them from announcing it. Being GoldenEye having a sort of Russia focus and stuff like that in the story, but yeah. Aside from that, it was some great stuff. Excited, and I am desperate to jump into TMNT Shredder's Revenge and get a review hopefully done by the end of the weekend.
I thought it was an excellent showcase. The main one, and obviously the extended as well. I do think that the Game Pass, as has been, to echo the sentiment, I do think it's something that is now objectively incredible value for money. Obviously the only thing that would make it better value for money would be if you were rich enough to buy all the games yourself, and then you wouldn't have to keep paying, I suppose. But the selection is incredible. I'm just excited in general about gaming at the moment. There was a lot of years, particularly the early 2000s, not early 2000s, maybe from say 2008 to maybe 2014 or so, where I didn't really feel too interested in things, and certainly at the moment some of the offerings that are coming out are incredible. And I was thinking as well, I was sort of musing about how there isn't really such a thing as a truly terrible game anymore. You used to get it in the old days where you would certainly only on the N64. I think though that console era, the N64 and the PlayStation 2 was sort of the last era of you would get devs releasing games that were just hilariously bad. And nowadays, certainly at the moment, even the games that I'm not so keen on are high quality. I don't know if anybody else feels that as well, that there's a general high bar in terms of the quality of the games that are coming out these days, whether we're interested in them or not.
Yeah, I can see that.
So
no 1-star clunker so far on Gamerhub. Anyway.
And you know the sad thing about that is that you kind of have to go back in time to. There's nothing more pleasurable as a game reviewer than getting the chance to write a review about a real stinker of a game, because
I don't know, because then you have to have played it to completion, and no.
Well, I mean, I remember years ago I was writing for Games Master magazine, and I had to review a Game Boy Advance game. It was a Bugs Bunny game, and I gave it something like 10% out of 100 or something like that. And one of the things I was writing about was how there was only one way to complete a level, and that was for Bugs Bunny to commit suicide by diving into some exploding barrels. Right now, being able to write that was enjoyable. It gave me the opportunity to have this sort of deadpan humor in the review. But you're right, and obviously you're saying, from the other end of it, it means we don't have to experience terrible games anymore. So there's pros and cons to it. I suppose we can always go back in time if we want to write about Carmageddon 64 or Superman or any one of these.
Did you have to say Superman?
I was just thinking of Superman. We were talking about the N64. I was like, that is like infamous for being the worst game. I don't know why we're ending this podcast on this chat on the worst games, but yeah.
Well, I think it's sort of meant to be I'd say a positive note in the sense that we don't have that anymore. I do think we're in a golden age of gaming right now, where and we're also on the cusp of true literal photorealism of games. That's going to change everything as well as we go into the metaverse. The line between reality and gaming and an online life is going to blur, and it's a real fascinating time to be alive, I would say. So there you go.
It was a great show. Like over the two shows combined, I thought, it gave. I like you say, I think I was more disappointed to not see Avowed than Outer Worlds 2. I genuinely thought it until like just before when I found out that it wasn't going to be there. I was really excited to see Avowed. I was like, oh god, I can't wait to see Avowed. But that's obviously something that's going to come now in the next year. Well, at least we'll see it in the next year. And it will, give Starfield, I guess, some breathing space. Two narrative-heavy RPGs, give them sort of a bit of breathing space. Hey, it was like you say, also GoldenEye. Would have liked to have seen that, but maybe that game doesn't even exist.
Oh god.
It does exist. It's called Nintendo 64. Don't make me hurt you.
Have you seen that knockoff game? Well, not knockoff. The sort of Agent 64.
With Unreal Engine tech, was it?
I think so. It looks pretty much like someone just made their spiritual homage to GoldenEye. Just because obviously this GoldenEye game just isn't coming out, so it's like, hey, let's just make our own. It looks pretty cool. You should check it out. I think it was on the day of the Dev Diaries. It came on after one of the showcases. I'm sure I've seen it on that, but yeah, it looks amazing. Anyways, sorry, I'm derailing your end of the podcast.
Yes, I'll be defending the galaxy as usual in between my sessions of Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge this weekend. So maybe I'll be joining the guys for a live stream, or Breeze if she ever wants to talk to me again. I don't know.
Right. Okay. Cool. So well, tell people where can they find you. Like, you've got some stuff coming for Gamerhub soon, don't you?
Yep, I've got obviously the Turtles review is handled, but I'm going to see what else I can come up with. Nice little surprises on the way. I like to keep you guys intrigued.
Yeah, you got Final Vendetta, I think, don't you?
Yeah, Final Vendetta will be coming up this weekend. The timing on that game's release, like right at the same time as Shredder's Revenge. I'm just, but I can't wait to give it a go. That'll be fun.
Absolutely.
So that'll be the next review you see, and I'll have another special as well. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Okay, Venny, talk to me. Where can we find you?
In a really warm room. With my laptop. So where you can find me is you're going to be seeing the ESO review before the 21st. You're going to be seeing the Fallout New Vegas article very soon. You're going to find me running the Discord, of which there will be a link in the description that I'm going to send Joe the new link just to make sure it works. You'll also, I suppose I could mention it, if anybody's ever interested, it would only take a little cursory search of Google to find the music I write as well. So that's something I'm involved in. It's quite 80s gamey style. Got my fingers in a few pies, but definitely Gamerhub. I'll be there, and I'm excited for the things I'm writing up. And also, Joe, I want to run through some of these games I've got with you because there could be a pipeline of reviews that we've maybe not even discussed yet of games that I've already got. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah, love it. Okay, and Steve-O.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned before, TMNT Shredder's Revenge review, hopefully incoming. I'm going to give myself very latest Monday, but I'm hoping before the end of Sunday. So that review will be coming. And after that, pretty much, I'm known as that I've pretty much done retro reviews since November. I'm going to take a break from them and work on the news side of things and the odd review similar to TMNT. So kind of maybe every 2 weeks try and get a new game review out if I find the time. But yeah, that's pretty much my focus for the Gamerhub contribution. And eventually I'll get back to writing some old retro reviews again because I do enjoy it. I do like going back to the old classics, but there's sometimes I play a bit too much of them and it's like, no, I'm missing out on all these new games that I should be playing.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, yeah. Well, we look forward to seeing that. So obviously, Breeze, you can sort of find her here at Gamerhub on the podcast, or occasionally on the podcast, or at the Gamerholics. And that's sort of this group on Facebook, and they've got obviously their podcast, the Game Time podcast. You should check that out as well. And then obviously now me as well. You can find us all at Gamerhub. Check us out. We've got lots of different mediums coming out. We're streaming nowadays. We've got the podcast, written content, news, reviews, feature pieces. Check us out. Join us on Discord. Join our groups on social media, Twitter, Facebook. We love you all. We'll catch you in the next podcast. Take care.
Go play Turtles on Game Pass.